welcome to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Blasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week, we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Out of the Box Radio. I am your host, Christine Blasdale, and I'm so very happy that you tuned in today because I have a really remarkable program for you that I think you're going to get a lot out of. My guest today is Monique Guild. And Monique is known and respected around the world as the go-to person when a business, product, or project has become stuck. Or person has become stuck. Monique is known around the world as a business intuitive. What is that? We're going to find out really soon. But just so you know, as one of the greatest leading global experts in transforming any career or any business and determining what's next, Monique uses her laser-like, sharp abilities to intuitively identify barriers to success and strategically developing optimum solutions. She delivers spot-on diagnosis that result in astounding solutions and measurable financial results. Again, let me repeat, measurable financial results. I am so happy to have her on Out of the Box Radio because I personally am going through a mega career change and jumping off the cliff. And so I know that if I'm going through that, I know that a lot of our Out of the Box Radio listeners are as well. So I want to welcome to the program, without further ado, Monique Guild. Monique, welcome to Out of the Box Radio.
Thank you, Christine. Oh my God, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so thrilled with what you're creating, what you're doing, just everything you're about, everything you always have been about, and your expansion in yourself, and that always results in expansion within other people as well. So it's super freaking cool.
I wanted to, let's let our listeners know too, I had you on a radio program, a fund drive show at a radio station in Los Angeles. And for that radio station, we raised a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And we raised that money by offering your services. Mm-hmm. And we took that hour in that show to talk about what you do, why you're so valuable to people, why people need to contact you immediately and get involved with you and have you become involved in their careers, their product, their services. But let's talk about the idea of business intuitive. So our listeners understand, what is a business intuitive? And it sounds like you're like the lone dodo bird or a rare species. I don't know of many business intuitives, but let's talk about that. What is a business intuitive?
Okay, so what happens is I have an ability that runs in my family. And my dad's a doctor, and he can have a patient walk in the door and tell you everything about that person before they open their mouth. And my grandmother was the same way. So for whatever reason, I'm able to access a part of my brain that allows me to know historical information on what's causing, the business or product or project to get stuck now. And I'm able to know what the undercurrent energy is on an atomic level that is affecting the business now. And I have just a gift in knowing precisely where, where the business got set up, or where the person, well, let me just say this. I always say it's the personal stuff that gets the business stuff blocked, period. Right. And so what happens is there's the quote unquote original wound that happens, or something in our family, our historical family, that will happen that will cause us to think a certain way. Like for me, example, I grew up in an extremely stressful, high profile, crazy New Orleans environment. And as a result of that environment, I started to think a certain way as a child. I had to be able to survey the land, get a feel for the house before I walked in the house, or feel people out and know who the good guys were from the bad guys, or know what was happening in the house before I walked in. So I really learned how to size up situations pretty quickly and read people pretty quick. And as a result of that, though, I started to think a certain way as a kid. And I had to constantly leave my body, size up situations, see what was happening, put out fires that needed to be put out. And every time we think a thought, a chemical gets released in our body. So as a child, I started a certain thought pattern that happened, and that released certain chemicals, and my body became chemically addicted to those chemicals. So as I got older, I would cause greater and greater situations, people, places, things, events. I would attract them into my life. And for example, back in the 90s, I was running a department across the nation for a corporation. And the guy that I was working for ended up having a write-up in the LA Times as being one of the worst people you could work for in Los Angeles. Now, that's a pretty tall order.
Like the Swimming with Sharks movie. With Kevin Spacey being the worst boss ever, kind of.
Exactly. And so, and he was my direct boss. I was in the corporate office. I had him by day, dealing with him by day, and by night, I'd come home to this absolutely nightmare relationship. I was in a horrible relationship where one of my best friends, Patsy, she said to me, she says, Monique, if I don't say this to you, I'm not your friend, but I'm afraid if I do say this to you, you won't be my friend anymore. And she says, I fear for your life. So I ended up having an ongoing period for 2 months. My body couldn't shut down. I couldn't stop bleeding and stuff. And I ended up having a write-up in the LA Times. I know what it's like to succeed under a tremendous amount of stress. I mean, like major, major stress. And what I had to learn how to do was learn how to not succeed under that way. But I had attracted these situations into my life because my body was craving more and more of the chemical from the past, from my environment. So as a business intuitive, I have an ability. I'm a business consultant that has an ability that is inherited. I'm also scientifically, neurologically hardwired for science. Everybody in my family are doctors. So I'm really into chemistry and physics and quantum physics and neurology. And I study that a lot, and I'm able to explain how what I do works for people, and how I'm able to transform people's careers and businesses and products and everything. But I'm able to, number one, pinpoint exactly the age where it started, what happened, what went down, and I can pretty much identify the ages where the pattern kept going, and I can show the person it happened here, 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 and here. And then I'm able to transform that energy around and completely create a whole nother career or business, or change the product, whatever it is, pretty fast. I mean, really fast, actually. And so that's in a nutshell.
Let's talk about some of the clients that you've had in the past and the work that you've done. Let's say, let's go from someone who not a huge multi-million-dollar company, but let's just say even a small business, or let's say a person who is a stay-at-home mom and is has a passion for something, or wants to create a home-based business or something like that. Let's talk about if you have a client that you worked with at that level, and then the other side of the spectrum. Let's talk about also these larger, because I know you've worked with major CEOs and changing their corporation or their company. But let's talk about those two extremes, and if you can give us an example, then that way people can kind of wrap their head around how it would apply to them.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you two. So the first one was a casting director, and he came to see me. And what was happening is for casting directors, they will have a producer call them, and the producer will say, okay, we need a 5'5", blonde, blue-eyed guy who's give a description of whatever they need. And they rattle things off so fast, and then they'll rattle off the next character that they need, that they're casting, and that sort of thing. And my client, he would get so flustered when these producers would call. He would break out into a sweat. He would be beside himself. He would just riddled with anxiety, couldn't get the information down fast enough. He was afraid that he wasn't going to get it right. He was going to mess up somehow. So somebody referred him to me, and he came to see me, and I said to him, I said, what is up with this? I'm seeing you like in a small room or something, or some sort of shed or something, and your dad's giving you some sort of direction, and he would say something like, okay, Johnny, go in and go get that spoon. And the spoon is when you walk in the door, you're going to take a left, and on the left there's going to be a brick on the floor, and when you see the brick on the floor, just look a foot above that, and there's going to be a red dot, and above the red dot, look up to the ceiling, and then you'll see a string, and like he'll give him these crazy directions to find this spoon. And he's like 6 or 7 years old, and he of course he could never remember all those directions, and he would come back, he wouldn't come back with this spoon. Or
you lost me at brick.
I know exactly. Crazy, right? And so his dad would get so mad at him, furious at him.
Right.
And he had no idea that was what was connecting the dots between what he did now for a living and what happened with him. And it was in the garage. His dad would make him go out to the garage and go get something for him and give him these insane directions. I mean, it's just, so that's one example. Another example, a stay-at-home mom. She, I've got a couple of them, but I'll give you this one where she is desperately trying to figure out her relationship and get it to work. That she has a child with this person, and he just does not want to be in a monogamous relationship. And she's known it since 11 years ago. And she keeps thinking that somehow, some way, it's going to miraculously change. He's going to become someone different. And if they just stay in therapy long enough, they'll get figured out why. And finally it was like analysis paralysis. Enough already. So first of all, she has to take responsibility. She's attracted in this person to her life.
Yes.
And what is it about her? Where did that get set up that she would continue to put herself in a situation? I have no judgment on the situation, but if it's not working for her, what is it about her that would continue to put herself in a situation that's not building her self-esteem or feeling good? She feels like shit because he's running around with everybody else. And, and I'm like, enough already. We'll call her Barbara. Enough already, Barbara, with all this bullshit. It's a complete distraction from your own life and what you're supposed to do and your own gifts. And it completely has to do with, her parents way back when her dad used to tell her how horrible she was and she was never enough and not pretty enough or this or enough or all these things or never amount and all this kind of mess. And so that as a young child, she started thinking as a result of that. The thoughts release chemicals. Her body got used to that chemical flow. And as she's gotten older now, she's attracted in a larger and larger circumstance with a person she has a child with who is giving her the same messages, really, which causes her to think a certain way. And
it reinforces those neural pathways.
Exactly. And the body gets flooded with the chemicals it knows. And even though it feels so bad to her, her body's saying, oh, thank you for the chemical hits that I need. And so we are getting that nipped in the bud, because as great as the distraction is as great as the gift is on the other side.
Right.
Bottom line. And once you flip that energy around, and I mean, God knows, you name it, I've experienced a lot, whether it's murder, mafia, suicide, government scandals, all kinds of crazy stuff in my own life, my own health issues. And knowing that as big as all that is as big as the gift is on the other side, but being able to, so many people in my family are psychiatrists, and they're wonderful and great and all that sort of stuff, but it gets to a point where it's like, enough with the analysis. You got to, right action is going to lead to right thinking. We cannot think our way into right action. We have to act our way into right thinking sometimes to neurologically reprogram.
Right.
So that's in a nutshell what I deal with.
What I like about you and about the possibilities, especially with people like myself or our listeners, our Out of the Box Radio listeners, is it is really literally going outside of the box. So many people have 9-to-5 jobs that they hate, but they do them because of security, or they feel that they're responsible for their family, for their spouse. Even if they're living by themselves, they're like, well, I need this job, because they're so frightened and terrified that if they left that job, then they would be destitute. They have the markers out in the outside world telling them, this is a bad job market. You're not gonna, unemployment is crazy. So there's a great deal of fear that is being pushed upon people, plus their own families too. Imagine if you're responsible for a family of 4 and you tell your spouse, hey, this job is killing me. I hate it. I hate the people I work with. I hate what I do. I think I want to try something else. And the spouse goes, really? Mm-hmm. How are we going to pay the mortgage? Mm-hmm. How are we going to eat? How are we going to do this? And so you have that external pressure from somebody that you live with. I mean, you got to sleep. You got to go to sleep at one time next to them. So what I want to talk about is, because you've worked with so many people that they're unhappy, and they know they're unhappy in their job or their position or what they're doing in life, even if maybe they're a stay-at-home mom and they're not happy with that. They want to do something. They want to contribute. Let's talk about the having the ability to jump off that safety, or jump out of that safety net, jump out of that comfort zone, and to go for the unknown. And if you have any analogies, or if you have any stories from your clients that you've worked with who have experienced this, then feel free to share that. But let's just talk about that concept in general, because I'm going through that myself right now as well, as you know. But let's talk about it, because I feel like a lot of people in the audience are in that space as well.
Right. Okay. So when I'm working with a client, I look at what the undercurrent energy is that is causing any other distractions other than them hating their job or wanting to change their job or whatever. Now, and I look at the relationship stuff. I'm looking at whether it's the partners, the work partners, or if they're an owner of a company and they have a bunch of partners, or if, let's say, if they're an employee and they have their boss, or let's say if they're a type of person who rescues people and they're busy rescuing people in their family and taking care of people in their family, if they have a spouse who's a drug addict or an alcoholic, is there any other drain going on in their life other than them not liking their job? Okay. So I am able to nail that immediately. I'm able to say, what's up with this?
So do you see that?
Yeah,
you actually see it or feel it?
No, I see pictures. I get like a film that runs in my mind, and then I also get blocks of information. And I just get like downloads, just like you can just rattle off business stuff and talk about how you create these amazing things for people with your marketing skills and things that you're so great at. I get the same sort of thing in a different way, where I'm able to really nail where is the other drain coming from. And so let's say the person is a person who has an alcoholic spouse. Let's just say. I will absolutely, if they want to continue working with me, they have to do something to heal that part of them that attracted in that spouse. They don't have to change spouses, go get a new one, go do whatever. But I may strongly, and they don't like it generally, but they have to understand where I'm coming from. I'm always coming from a scientific point of view. Always, it's about science. And I have no desire to sit in the problem long at all. I'm so solution oriented. So I will say to the person, you know what? If you want to continue working with me, you're going to have to go to some Al-Anon meetings. And they're going to go, and I say to them, I know you're going to throw up and you're going to hate every second of it. It's not what you want to do, but you have to listen how I'm instructing you to go there and listen. Because what's happening is you are giving your energy away. You've gotten used to giving your energy away to everybody else and taking care of everybody else. And you haven't learned how to take care of yourself and put the focus on yourself and take care of yourself. And this is the place where I know that people are going through major stuff. They have kids, they have spouses, they have whoever there is in their life that they are constantly stepping in to rescue, take care of, or their thoughts are thinking on them And I got to get them to have all their thoughts for themselves and to stop, to let go of what they can't control, put the focus back on themselves, know that they're not responsible for this person's situation. That person, no matter what they do, they're not going to get sober or do what they need to do to take care of themselves, really, until you step back and let go. Now, I can say this from a place of having been there, done that, being the rescuer, being the caretaker, right. Being the person that, has been through, my best friend killed herself, I mean, I could, and I've stepped in to help those people that needed help, and then I have not stepped in to help. And you can help so much, but if a person's not willing to take the other responsibility for wanting to clean up their act, there's nothing you can do, and you got to let go. That's the part. And when you let go, all that energy that you had focused on that person wanting to save them, now you got it for yourself. Now you can hear yourself. Now you can hear how your inside self is guiding you. That's what my whole book is based on, intuitive goal setting, your soul's purpose goals. And the way to hear your soul's purpose goals is, first of all, get all the distractions out of your life. So I can tell you, I can help you be queen of the universe, but it's not going to stick if you don't take care of all the drains that are going on in your life, all the little things, we need to put a plug in different things, no pun intended, but a plug in the jug somewhere, somehow, whether it's for yourself or them or whatever. And so that's the first thing I'll do, is say to the person who's in this job that they hate, I'm looking at the relationship stuff around them, that's what I'm doing. And then once we identify that, and they're taking responsibility for that. Now, why I say Al-Anon, it's only because I have them go there and I listen, because like I said, these people, they are under dire straight situation, and they're learning how to let go of that dire straight situation, put the focus on themselves, not feel selfish for putting the focus. That's the whole thing. That's the key, right? Not feel selfish for taking care of themselves and giving themselves the best life. And that's where you're going to get the concentrated energy of people that are in, just heartbreaking situations, and they're learning how to do it. Again, I'm coming from a business point. I want to build the business. I want to build the career. So I can get you to take care of that energy and nip that in the bud and really feel good about being selfish, so to speak, about yourself and wanting to save yourself. Then I can help really begin. And that person all of a sudden magically begins to get downloads. They begin to get information.
Because their conscience or the energy that's swirling around them isn't focused on that person or on that relationship, on that that parent that did them wrong. Those stories that something could have happened to you as a child, and you could be 30, 40, 50 years old, and you're still replaying that story in your head about how you were mistreated or abused and things like that. And that is all sucking the energy.
Exactly.
So when you free that through different processes, then you are, like you said, then you're able to, to hear the downloads, to hear the, or
downloads, you're able to hear the
inspiration.
The inspiration. Also, you begin to feel differently. All of a sudden you begin to feel differently.
And you're sending out a different energy.
You're sending out atomic energy, and those atoms are going to go out and attract other like atoms of similar frequency.
Repeat that, please.
So you're going to feel differently, and you're going to send out that energy, and those atoms are going to go out and attract other like atoms of similar frequency. They're going to come together. They're going to form a unit. And whatever the highest consciousness is of that unit, it's what's going to materialize in your life. And if at the same time that person's getting downloads of possible new opportunities, they can hear that and they begin to vibrate at that level, and they begin to attract in people, places, events, things that start to change in their own lives. Then they neurologically get hardwired to a future reality as opposed to continuing to bring their past into their present. So that's key.
That's really, really key, because we do so much. Well, we're so much living in the past, thinking about who harmed us, what they did us wrong. My husband cheated on me, or my parents did this, or my coworker, does this or that. We're living in the past, or we're worried about the future. Because very few of us sit there and go, oh, when I'm, when I'm ready to retire, I'm gonna do this or that, or when I get older, we go to the worst case scenario. We go, I'm gonna be like 80 years old in a house full of cats. Nobody's gonna love me, and I'm gonna have to eat,
cat food,
dog kibble or whatever to survive.
Yeah.
And because as humans, do we go to the worst case scenario? Like, is that built into our fight or flight mode? What is that?
It's a chemical addiction. It's a thought process.
Oh, because it feels good to go to the worst horror story
The
you can
body's
find.
getting flooded. The body's getting flooded with the chemicals, and the body's saying, thank you for thinking all those horrible thoughts,
right.
because I'm getting flooded with all these chemicals that feel so good, and I'm so used to feeling in my body, right? So it's pretty wild what happens.
That ain't right. So we're sabotaging ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as a result.
Okay, no, and here's a perfect example, and you are so right that science speaks to this, because I had spoken in great depth with a neuropsychologist who's done amazing work in our belief systems and our thoughts, because our thoughts make up our belief systems. So what he was saying is that when you are growing up, your family around you, their beliefs, their religion, their whatever they believe, if they think that people that have a lot of money must be crooked or must be evil, you'll never attain that. Nobody in our family has ever been rich. Those people are different, kind of that mentality, those and us and them, right? It creates a belief system. And it's the same thing with your culture. So you could be in the United States, in California, in Los Angeles, very different culture compared to being in the Midwest or being in part of India, or if you're part of the caste system. If you're born into a certain caste system in India, you're always going to, everybody's just thinking you're always going to be poor and destitute, and that's just how it is. And then if you're on the other side, you're always going to be, opportunities are going to come to you and wealth will come to you. So you have all those different factions. What he was talking about was the power of your beliefs and the power of your thoughts, so much to the point that it has on a physical level, it can be recognized and not calculated, but proven. So the best case scenario for this is the placebo effect.
Oh wow. Okay.
So let's say I'm at my doctor's office, and let's say I'm there being treated for high blood pressure, and the doctor who comes in with the professional coat and the stethoscope and the badge that says Dr. Smith, whatever, he or she comes to me and says, Christine, I've got great news. Pulls out a little bottle of pills and says, this bottle of pills is the latest pharmaceutical wonder drug. Literally, this is the latest and greatest. When you take one of these, it will, I guarantee you, it'll help lower your blood pressure. And it's, tried and true, and it's wonderful. So you look at the doctor who has the degrees,
right,
has the coat, has the stethoscope, who you believe, and you give value to what they say. You trust them. So you take the pill. The placebo effect comes in where the doctor gives you that bottle of pills and they're just sugar pills. But lo and behold, because you believe in the pill, you believe in the doctor, you believe in the whole system, they actually show that your blood pressure goes down. Just from a sugar pill. From a sugar pill.
Right.
So the power of our thoughts and our beliefs is immense. And that should be front page news, headline news. Every network, every newspaper should be talking about this. My God, the diseases that we could cure, the things that we could get over, the heartache that we could get over with that knowledge.
Look at, not to bring this person up, but Trump instills a certain belief system. He paints a picture very clear to he is vibrationally frequency specific to a large group of people that vibrate with his message. He paints the message. He instills belief. People believe it. And the guy is going to be president now, out of unbelievable odds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the power of belief and faith, belief
and the opposite, fear.
Yeah, fear. Thank you.
Because that same pill,
thank you,
that is a sugar pill.
Right.
If the doctor said that this is poison,
right, right, exactly.
That pill that I just gave you, that you just swallowed, by the way, was rat poison or whatever. Your body believes it.
Yeah,
and it will shut down.
Right.
That's huge.
It is huge.
So if you can apply
amazing.
that, if you can, and that's what I want to say with the out of the box radio listeners, apply the placebo effect analogy to every area of your life. That means relationships, your health, your career, your job, your passion, your hobby. Just when you go outside and you go to the the grocery store, how you interact with other human beings, apply the placebo effect to it, and you will be astounded. But realize the power of you. We don't realize the power of our thoughts and our beliefs. We take it for granted.
I think
just
what
as
you're
it
saying is so important, because to take it, even expand on what you're saying with the placebo and applying it to other areas of your life. What will happen if this placebo effect works? Like this person who has this health issue, blood pressure, whatever it is, what's the good about that will come out of these pills working, right? And if you know the why of why this is so good, I'm going to take this because I'm going to feel blah, 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 or my blood pressure is going to come down. Or, like you said, the different areas you apply this placebo effect to, well, what's going to be the great that's going to come out of it? And if you stay focused on that, and that's what Trump was able to do, is the great stuff that's going to, to him, the great stuff that's going to come out of all of this stuff, is going to be no more whatever,
And he didn't have to give examples of how to do it. He said it's just going to happen.
I know. It's going to magically, like the magical pills, it's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen.
He's one big placebo.
If you don't mind, I want you to talk about, if you don't mind, talk about what you do, because I know you have a very, very special offer for our Out of the Box radio listeners. And you have, of course, when you have your clients, you have them, they can be, you can be on a retainer with them, or you can do individual sessions with them. But let's talk about, for this particular offer that you're going to be giving the Out of the Box radio listeners, the session, let's talk about that. It is a one-on-one session with you.
Consultation.
One-on-one consultation with Monique Guild, the business intuitive. And that is by phone or Skype?
It's by phone. I don't generally do Skype because I'm so interested I need to hear the person's voice, and that's all I'm really interested in focusing in on. But what happens is I've worked by referral for a really long time. So what I love about you so much is that you have helped so many people. I mean, Christine, seriously, with all the stuff that you've done over so many years, it's just tremendous what you have done. So, I mean, however I can help your listeners and audience and things, I'm here. So what happens is we'll have the 1 hour consultation, and in the first hour, I generally, if I can, if I've got the time to, I like to set my own appointments. I don't have my assistant do it because I love hearing the person's voice when I'm setting the appointment. And anyway, so then they call their appointment time, and I will go through information I need to know first. I don't know anything about this person whatsoever. None, right. Nothing. And I'll need to go through some stuff that I need to understand, and then they go through their list of questions, and then we formulate a game plan from there. And from there, a person will go on a 2-month retainer. It's by 2 months at a time. And but the 1 hour consultation generally is at $350 for the hour, but for your people and for all your listeners and things like that, I'm going to do a thing today where I'm going to offer like 20. If that sounds good to you.
So there's a limited amount that of people that can. So for the first 20 listeners who sign up for one of your consultations, now it's normally $350. You've got a great opening deal for them.
Yeah, I'm going to do it where it's at $250.
Fantastic.
For the hour. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and so because I believe that what I do and what I teach, they'll go on. I'll teach them, and then they'll go on and be able to teach other people. And so I want to do that. And then if a person wants to continue on with the retainer, that's something. I mean, you can discuss the rates with the retainer. Sort of thing.
Yeah, well, the retainer. Let's talk about what is if somebody wanted to retain you for your consultation and services. Let's say they have a company, a business, and they want to retain you. This particular package that you're offering, what does it entail as far as time-wise?
So what happens is time-wise, it's very fluid. A person will have their 1 hour consultation, then we will. They have homework to do, and I'll say to them, when can you get your homework done? And they say the next day or 2 or 3 days, and it's really based on we set the schedule according to their time, and it keeps going that way for 2 months, and I add on 2 extra weeks, so it's 10 weeks, 10 intuitive goals, and it's generally 10,000 for the 10 weeks. But for today, for your listeners, a limited sort of thing again I want to offer is with half of my normal rate.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So
so instead of $10,000 for this 10 week intensive consultations with Monique Guild, so instead of 10,000, it's 5,000, so it's half. And now we have to limit that as well, because if not, people will take advantage of that. So 5, the first 5 listeners who take advantage of that, of the retainer with Monique Guild, you will get those incredible services and consultations for 5,000, not 10,000. And for the first 20 Out of the Box Radio listeners who take her up on her 1 hour consultation, which is a great way, trust me, it is a great way to spark, ideas, things. If you want to change in your life, if you are at a job that you hate, or if you are home and you've been a stay-at-home parent or a mom, or you've been underemployed, not just unemployed but underemployed, you're working your ass off for $15 an hour, making coffee for people, and you know that you're more than that. You know that there's so much more that you can do. This is a great investment in you. In your future. And I believe that what Monique can pull out intuitively out of this is also, even if you don't know what it is that you want to do.
Right.
Because that's how so many of us are so, everybody's running around just trying to make ends meet. And that's so stressful that we don't have time, the energy or the effort, the ability to think outside of the box. So with this consultation, again, this consultation, the 1 hour consultation, the value of it normally is $350, and the first 20 listeners who take advantage of her, it'll be $250. Now, for people who want to get signed up right away, they're going to go to your website, right? There's a special URL.
Yeah, and they'll go to, first they can go to my website to read about what I do, and there are endorsements there. There's some endorsements, the larger endorsements I send privately if someone would like to see other endorsements. But it's Monique Guild, spelled like Screen Actors Guild, but it's MoniqueGuild.com. And then for your listeners only, we're creating a MoniqueGuild.com/Christine. This is the URL people will go to. Is it /? Thank you for that. And they'll be, that's where the person will be able to purchase the $250 1 hour consult as well as the retainer. Or if we choose to, if they need to do a retainer in a different way, we'll figure out how they'll pay and that sort of thing.
So it's MoniqueGuild.com /Christine, and it's Christine with a CH. MoniqueGuild.com/Christine, CHRISTINE. We'll give out that information again at the end of this program, and then obviously too with the YouTube video that'll accompany this after it airs. We will put those links. We'll put that link up directly so people can just click on that. And again, please, folks, remember that this is a limited offer. There's only 20 available for the $250 1-hour consultations with Monique, and only 5 available of the amazing deal for the retainer, 10 weeks, which will transform your business, your corporation, your company. And all you got to do is invest $5,000, not $10,000. So again, it's MoniqueGuild.com/Christine. Okay, so now that we got people going, oh, okay, I can actually step off this. Now let's talk about why someone would want to do the 1-hour consultation with you, why they would want to, why this is important for them to invest that money and time and effort. Well, it's so little time, folks, for you, but why people should do this. And let's not take it from the perspective of the person who's the big CEO fat cat, all right? I want to take it from the perspective of someone who's struggling right now, who is either employed at a job that they don't like, barely making ends meet, underemployed, and are freaking the fuck out about how they're going to live, or unemployed or at home and miserable. Let's go to the people who I think need you the most.
So right off the bat, on my website, right at the top of the front page, you're going to see the question: have you ever asked yourself ... How far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? Right off the bat. And so if anybody's in a career or business or situation where they're asking these questions to themselves, that's key. That's right there. That's your inside self guiding you. And, I always find there's no mistake. People land where they land in listening programs or come to people like you and here because you're such a plethora of information. So, those are the people I love designing. I had one housewife come to me. She hadn't worked in years, like 25 years. Whoa. And she always had a dream of being a stager. How the real estate agencies. So when you go to the house, it all looks really nice and exactly. Well, there's people that come in and they stage the house to be sold and all. She always wanted to do that. She'd never done a thing in her life in regard to this. And she came to me. She was a referral by somebody, and she had this idea that she wanted to stage this particular house in Pasadena. It was called the Pickford or something like that. I think that was the name of it. And we worked together for 2 months, only 2 months. She's the only person, because I generally do things super, super quick. We worked together for 2 months. We had first of all identified what it was she wanted to do, we created what that was, and 2 months later, she got the biggest house in Pasadena, California. She staged. She's gone on to create. Her name is, I can tell you because she's endorsed me. Her name is Vicki Kairos. She's one of the top stagers in Pasadena. This is a person who hadn't worked. The only kind of work that she had done anything remotely close to this is her husband loved to move. And so he'd say, we're moving tomorrow. We're going to go down to this other house, and you need to have it set up within 2 days because I have people coming for a meeting.
Oh, so it was just her own home that she was staging.
Yes.
Out of necessity.
Yes.
And fast.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And she loved doing it, and she had to do it a lot of times.
And she made a career. After talking with you, after consulting with you, she's now one of the top stagers.
She is one of the top stagers. And so, see, like that was like an ability she developed that she had to develop out of certain, but she liked doing it, but it was stressful though, because it was always under a hurried kind of stressful situation, but she liked it. She liked design or however staging these furniture things, but maybe the stay-at-home mom or the person who is in a terrible job, they don't like all that, but they have this thing they love to do on the side and they keep kind of doing it, and whether it's putting people together or introducing people, or they have they like to the client I talked about earlier, the housewife with the husband or whatever who doesn't really want to be in the relationship. Right. She has a thing of she can hear someone talk about business or talk about, her husband would talk about partners at people, and she would intuitively get information on how to speak to the person that her husband was about to speak to and what would best be said to influence that person to work with them. She has this gift, right? And so she was always guiding him and telling him, well, why don't you say this to him or say that to him or whatever? And I was like, oh, hello, there's something to start with right there. So it might be right in front of your eyes that you have a gift and ability that you just do naturally and you don't think anything big about it, and it's sitting right there in front of you. And so I help identify that,
Okay, and that's what I love. That's what I love. Do you know how many people... This is why I wanted you on the show, too. How many people you can help bring out their gift, their talent, that they've been sitting on this gift. Folks, if you're listening to me I know you're listening to me right now. If you have been sitting on a gift, and don't boo-hoo yourself. Don't say, oh, that's nothing, so I like to make cookies and my neighbors think they're the best thing in the world. Well, you know what? Mrs. Fields probably had the same thing, okay?
Right.
Or if you're somebody who dabbles, I was telling you a friend of mine who's an incredible chef, but my God, the life of a chef is so hard. I didn't realize how hard it was. Long hours on your feet, you're burning yourself, you're cutting yourself all the time from the knives, and it's extremely stressful. And she's an incredible chef. So she was doing this, but she wasn't making it was very hard to make a decent living. Mm-hmm. Extreme pressure, long hours, and she was miserable. But you know what? She has this insane gift. Her eye. She can take photographs with just her phone, just a phone. She can take these photographs it's literally eye candy or art. It is exquisite. The photos that she takes, so exquisite that cities, local cities, when they see the pictures from Malibu or Ojai, they are representative of the city. They see a picture. She'll take a picture of a horse in Malibu, and Malibu is just like that represents us. That's,
oh my God.
So
right.
So here's somebody who trained as a chef, did the chef thing, but wasn't really happy, and now she is tapping into her gift, her true gift.
She just naturally did by picking up her phone and taking pictures, and now that's a great example. And wow.
And now what would help even more is if she was able to have a consultation with you, because she knows she likes to do it. She enjoys doing it, but she doesn't know, well, here's the other thing. Here's the thing. Okay, I can make the best damn cookies, ever, or I could take the most amazing photographs ever. How am I going to make a living at that?
Right.
Who's going to buy these, Monique? How am I going to... It's just a hobby now. What do you say to those people?
Right. So generally with those people, they have to, so that's when the whole investor looking for a bigger kitchen, because a lot of time people like this, let's say the cookie maker, they start in their own home, they start packaging in their own home, then they start to outgrow it, and then they go into the garage, and then they outgrow the garage, then they have to look for a larger kitchen. And someone once said to me in 2000, he said to me, Monique, if you get honest, because originally I was saying I was a business creative career consultant. I was too afraid to let people know because I have intuitive. Because I have a dad for a psychiatrist, even though I inherited my ability from him. I'm running around telling people I'm hearing voices, I see pictures. I mean, my family's going to lock me up, right? So, and Michael Weiss, back then, my guy who made my brochures for me, he said to me, Monique, get honest with what it is you're doing. Let people really know. And I said, all right, I'm a business creative career intuitive. And then it became a business intuitive because somebody said to me, you should look at this Carolyn Miss person. She says medical intuitive.
Yes.
And so I did. And I said, yeah, and she's, exactly. And I started to say business intuitive. I got really honest. I was on that radio and bing, bang, boom. I mean, it took off like a floodgate. I mean, it was unbelievable. And So getting honest, yes. And so I say to my clients, get really honest with where you are, what you're doing, what your passion is, get doing it. And there will always be an audience there to hear it. The more authentic you are, and the more true to yourself that you are, the more you hear your own inner voice, and you take that inner voice and you impress that. You impress the inner reality on the outer world, as opposed to the outer world determining what your next step is. You hear that inside self so much so, you impress that on the outer world. I'm telling you, there will be people there to hear, eat, smell, touch, taste, feel, whatever, what your gift and talents are. Yeah. I swear to that. Because you become vibrationally frequency specific to your own inside self. And then you emanate that. You're feeling so good and so passionate about what you're doing. You can't help but attract in. The more we get clear about our inside selves, and we don't allow the outer world to determine what our next step is, that our inner world becomes more real than anything else out there. There's a woman I interviewed many, many years ago when I did the documentary across the nation. Her name was Flo. And she says to me, she says, Monique, she goes, when they think I'm crazy, she says, I get happy feet. And I start dancing. She started dancing in the parking lot. She says, I don't look to my left. I don't look to my right, because I walk by faith and not by sight. This is a woman who had cancer that had metastasized all over her body. Okay? The doctor said to her, Flo, go home, get your affairs in order. You got 3 months to live. And she says back to the doctor, she says, Doctor, I don't have time to die. I have got 3 kids to raise, and the Lord has plans for me. And the doctor thought she was crazy, but she had a vision. She had a thing at 11 years old. This is a woman who had been beaten, who had been raped. She lived in a housing project when she was a child, and she had some vision. The sky opened up at 11 years old, and she was told she was supposed to work in real estate. She had no idea what that meant or what it was, but she always held on to it. So when she got this diagnosis, she said she knew that was when she had to quit her job at AT&T.
I got chills all over.
I know. Woo. I know. She had to quit her job at AT&T. She goes and gets her real estate license. She, just thinking about her, she just amazing human being. She gets her job. She gets her real estate license. She opens up a little realty company called Rainbow Realty in Picayune, Mississippi. And she became the queen of HUD housing. She looks at me and she says, Monique, if you got any kind of paycheck, anything at all, I can help you get out of your car and off the street and into a house. She says 50% of the people on the street are Vietnam vets, and they have a paycheck, some sort of income. She has helped hundreds of people get out of their cars, off the streets, and into homes. And this was a woman who did not know nothing from nothing, but she had that inside self, and she walked by faith and not by sight, and she did not allow the outer world, the scientists, the doctors, tell her, you're going to die. And when I met her, it was like 18 years after that. And she had this wonderful little Rainbow Realty in Picayune, Mississippi. And then I talked to her after Katrina hit, and she had opened up Walk by Faith Ministries for Women. Incredible human being, still going, 25, 26 years later, you know.
So I guess the 3-month diagnosis of death just didn't happen.
Exactly. Her inner reality was more real than anything of what the outside world. And she had a vision at 11 years old. She didn't have the education to even know what the vision was, but she knew she had something inside that she was meant to do. And she listened to it. And this is a person who'd been through hell and back as a child. And she overrode all of that. And the belief, like you spoke of earlier, right there, that's it. You know, is really that placebo effect, that belief, that inner drive, no matter what, that inside self, you know, and just continuing to walk in that and not allowing the outer world to determine what's next is key.
And what a wonderful way to wrap up this program. So positive and so and that's why I wanted you to be on Out of the Box Radio, Monique, because I just knew that what you had to share with our listeners would be so valuable and inspirational as well. So let's just recap a little bit about if you want to have a consultation with Monique Guild, and trust me, folks, you want to. I'm going to be working with Monique on many different projects, upcoming things, and getting her involved in some things that I'm doing, and perhaps I'll be involved with some stuff that she's doing. But I definitely want you to get a hold of her somehow. You can get the 1-hour consultation, not for $350, which is worth every penny, but you get it for a $250 discount, $250 for the 1-hour consultation. Or if you want to do the retainer, which is 10 weeks, that's a lot of Monique Guild guiding you through your career, with your business, with your company, moving you out of this world of lack. If you don't know what you want to do, or if you do know what you want to do, but you don't know how to get there, the retainer is normally it's a $10,000. Normally the retainer is $10,000, and we have available for 5 of you wonderful Out of the Box listeners. 5 of them are available to you for a $5,000 cost. So again, 5 are available for the retainers, and we have 20.
Yeah. Right?
20 for the 1-hour consultations. And when they're gone, they're gone. So please do not miss out on this opportunity. It is a golden opportunity. I right now, a picture just popped in my head. One of my favorite movies is a younger person was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I completely identified with that little blonde-haired, boy, Charlie. And when he got the golden ticket, because I grew up in a relatively poor neighborhood, not from great means at all, but opening up that chocolate bar and seeing that golden ticket is sort of what I find when I have wonderful guests like you on, so that golden ticket can actually help so many people. And that's what we want to do. So if you are interested, folks, in taking advantage of Monique, the offer, you can go to MoniqueGuild.com, MoniqueGuild.com /Christine. That's the only place you're going to be able to find this opportunity. MoniqueGuild.com /Christine. And as I said before, the link to that particular webpage will be available on the YouTube archive of this program. I want to thank you again, Monique, for being with us this hour and sharing your amazing insights and strength and kindness to people. And I think the work you do is really, really important. So thank you.
Oh, God, Christine, I feel the same way about you. Seriously, like what you've done and how you've helped so many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all over this nation, everywhere, every which way. I mean, you have an extraordinary talent, extraordinary gift that you deliver in such a humble, heartfelt, heart-centered way that I can't wait to see what you do next. I know it's going to be absolutely off the charts, and I absolutely want to be a part of it.
I don't know what it is, but it's going to be good. I'm taking all my friends with me too. I'm taking my friends with me. I'm taking the listeners with me as well. It's a journey, folks. And again, I'm happy to be with you on this journey. The program is celebrated. It's just celebrated its 1-year anniversary, and we've got so much ahead of us. There's going to be so much great programming ahead. It's all about transforming our lives. It's all about lifting each other up. Okay, it's about lifting each other up and really going after your dreams and making those dreams come true. That's what I want for our listeners. So until next time, I want you to always remember to think outside of the box. We will be right back at you in 1 week's time. And if you want to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, you can do that through iTunes. You can do it through iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, and also, of course, YouTube. If you can go to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you will always have access to the programs. So until next time, bye for now. And again, thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Christine.